Take that 98% deal right now and deal with tax hikes on the rich later. That is not a Democrat talking. That is Republican Congressman Tom Cole, who is talking to us right now. Welcome, everybody. I'm Neil Cavuto, coming to you live from sunny California. It's the tax capital of the nation, by the way. And if Democrats and at least one Republican have things their way, taxes could soon be going even higher for couples earning north of $250,000 a year, maybe a lot higher. That's because Republican Congressman Tom Cole says we ought to freeze tax rates at the current levels for the majority of Americans just in time for Christmas and deal with the top 2% who likely see their rates raised later. That triggering this reaction today from House Speaker John Boehner.
I told Tom earlier in our conference meeting that I disagreed with it. You're not going to grow the economy if you raise tax rates on the top two rates. It'll hurt small businesses. It'll hurt our economy. It's why this is not the right approach.
Now to the guy at the center of this tax storm, Oklahoma Republican Congressman Tom Cole, in a first on Fox. Congressman, he singled you out for calling you out. How do you feel about that?
Hey, look, I like the speaker, and we have a great relationship. We're able to talk directly and honestly with one another, so I have no problem with that, and would expect him to express his opinion just as he would expect me to express mine.
I think what he's saying is you're pre-caving.
Now, that's just nonsense. The reality is tax rates go up for every American on December 31st. If we can make sure that doesn't happen for 98% of them and continue to fight for the other 2%, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I actually think the American people will listen to us in that discussion if they know their taxes aren't going up. And I think that we'll win the argument. I really do believe most people understand raising tax rates is bad for the economy. It costs jobs. It actually, in the long term, undermines revenue. But right now, everybody's taxes are scheduled to go up. And unless we fix that, paradoxically, President Obama becomes a defender of the Bush tax cuts for 98% of the people, and he's no such thing. That's something we accomplished, we ought to take pride in, and again, I'm not for raising rates on anybody, period. But
all right, well, we know the end result will be, you mentioned the president, sir, and he seized on your remarks as well. This is from President Obama earlier.
I'm glad to see, if you've been reading the papers lately, that more and more Republicans in Congress seem to be agreeing with this idea that we should have a balanced approach. So if both parties agree we should not raise taxes on middle-class families, let's begin our work with where we agree.
So you have the president agreeing with what you're saying, Congressman, the speaker
not.
Look,
the president and I don't agree.
Well, hey, where do you see this bridge
I don't think
meeting?
think rates on anybody should go up. I'm against tax increases on anybody, period. End of debate. But right now, it doesn't take a positive action, Neil, by Congress to raise taxes. These taxes are going up unless we do something to stop it. If I can stop them for 98% of the people and then continue to fight on the others, I will. If you think we're going to gain ground by holding the American people hostage, saying that their taxes are at risk, I actually disagree. This is not our leverage in this debate and discussion. It's the president's. But look, I respect the speaker. I support the speaker. I've supported him on any tough vote that he's had. If he can negotiate a great and better deal, and I know he's trying to, and I think he's got a chance of doing it, he'll certainly have my support. But this was a comment made, by the way, in off-the-record whip conversation. They asked me, what do you think? I said, this is what I think. It was leaked. That's fine. I'm quite happy to defend my position. But it's not as if I'm working against the speaker or a conference. Quite the opposite.
So you don't think there's a division in the ranks, Congressman? By that I mean that Republicans seem to be kind of twisted and torn now, that if they go along with pushing very hard for rates not to go up for the upper income, they do risk, as you pointed out, having rates go up for everybody. So I understand what you're saying, address it so that that doesn't happen, at least to the 98%. But do you think that it would even be likely that in a new Congress you could correct things so the 2% for whom rates would go up? Wouldn't it be a lost cause?
I do believe we can correct things, but again, I don't think if you allow the Democrats to pose as the defenders for tax cuts, by the way, they almost all opposed in the first place. We ought to recognize this is getting and making permanent 80% of the Bush tax cuts for 98% of the American people. That's a victory, not a loss. And then we're still free to continue to pursue it because their policy, the president's policy, is bad policy. It'll raise rates, it'll hurt the economy, it'll cause less investment and fewer jobs. We can win that argument. But if we try to make it, well, most Americans suspect that we might be complicit in raising their taxes, I think we're more likely to lose it. So again, that's just we don't have a debate here over political theology. It's a debate over political tactics.
All right, Congressman, a pleasure. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Neil.
Well, you know, no one knows this whole debate better than